Hello, welcome back to my top 100 games as of 2022. We are now in the top 50. These games are very good. Um, I own 8 of these 10. We're going from 50 to 41. Hopefully, I get the number right this time in the video description. And so, without further ado, let's head to the first one. Number 50 is San Juan. It was 54 last year, so about the same. San Juan is the card game version of Puerto Rico. And oh my gosh, I need to put some. Oh no, I have hair ties in here. Look, I need some better hair ties in here because these cards are going everywhere. Puerto Rico is a game that I really love. It's actually higher on the list. This is a faster way to play Puerto Rico. So you're producing goods at things like your indigo farm plants and your tobacco storage, and you're getting these special buildings like the aqueduct here. And you're just trying to essentially get the most points by producing goods and doing various different things. Very similar to Puerto Rico in that one person chooses an action, everyone else does the same action. One thing I really like about San Juan, though, is that all of the goods that you produce and all the resources are cards. So it's all cards. If you need to pay 5 for something, you discard 5 cards. If a building produces 3, then you draw 3 cards. Works really well. Much simpler than Puerto Rico. Big fan. Number 49 is Lord of the Rings: The Confrontation. This was 34 last year. Haven't played it that much. There is also a deluxe version of this game, which I don't have. But this is a really great 2-player game. This is essentially Stratego with Lord of the Rings. And so here we have Pippin. You have 9 characters on the light side, 9 characters on the dark side, and what the light side needs to do to win is get Frodo to Mount Doom. And if they do that, they win the game. And if the light side, oh, here's Frodo. If the dark side kills Frodo, then, or if they get 3 guys in the Shire, then they win. So here's Frodo, and he's a little bit, he can escape because when you attack him, he can retreat. The twist on this one is the dark side has better characters and stronger cards. Combat's pretty simple, but I really like it. It's similar to a Game of Thrones, actually, the board game. The light side does have Gandalf, who is the best character in the game. But on the whole, once they find out where Gandalf is, they can try to assassinate him with something like the orcs. And on the whole, dark side is just better than the light side. But the light side, I think, wins more often. Which is a weird thing to say, but that's because all they need to do is sneak Frodo into Mordor to win. Great 2-player game, really love it. Number 48 was 44 last year, so about the same. This is the first deck building game in this 10. This is Fort. Fort is by Later Games, who makes Root and Oath and some other nice games. One thing the Later Games has is they have a staff artist, Kyle Farron, who does all the art for their games. And he's fantastic. They have a game coming out that I'm really interested in, a space game called Arcs. In this game, you are recruiting kids to join your little group of neighborhood miscreants who are they're building a fort. They're doing things. Here's Einstein. I like Einstein. Look, he's one of the book kids. So it is a deck builder. It works very differently than other deck builders because you recruit a new kid each turn, which is very fun. Doodles. Here, this is the Kyle card that we've decided that I am Giggles. You notice he has a macaroni painting here that says "butt" on it. Anyway, where was I? Fort. Yeah. Not intuitive. I would not say this is a good, welcoming game. It's not a super long game, but it takes some brain space to get your mind around. Once you do, it plays pretty easily. That is Fort. Number 47 was one of the 2 games on this list that I do not have, and it's the only other deck builder on this list of 10. That is Clank. Clank was 36 last year. Clank is a game where you are building a deck, but in addition, you're moving your little guy around the board, and you have to go collect these treasures out of the dungeons and then escape the dungeons and not die to making too much noise. So when you make too much noise, when you play like noisy cards or you do certain things, you add these little cubes to a bag, which is the clank bag, and then at certain times people draw cubes out of the bag, and if that represents the dragon hunting you. If the dragon pulls out your cubes, then you start to accumulate wounds. Fill up your wound track, you're dead. You might still win though if you're above the ground, if you're above like the depths, and therefore the villagers can come rescue you. Really fun game, big fan. I don't own it. I don't know if I will because my friend Bob has it, so I just play his copy. That is Clank. Number 46 was 37 last year, and this is Azul. I have since played the third version of Azul. I can't remember which one that one's called. Summer Pavilion or something like that. And I haven't played the second one yet, but I prefer this one. Azul is kind of an abstract game where you're collecting these little tiles and moving them over to score points. The tiles are very attractive. They're these chunky little, they kind of look like starbursts, so don't like eat starbursts while you're playing this game, unless you want to and just make it more dangerous. Add some excitement. But yeah, Azul is a abstract game that works really well as a welcoming game, as a one to introduce people to the hobby. People tend to really enjoy it. I think it's very clever, and certainly it's one of those games where it plays very differently two-player because you're very much focused on stopping the other player. But I think it plays really well at 3 and 4 players as well. That was Azul. Number 45 is the other game on this list I don't have. It was 61 last year. It is Kingdom Builder. Kingdom Builder is this game where you, on your turn, you have a draw card, and then you have to play 3 of your little buildings on that terrain. But there are these special cards there's special tiles you can collect that let you do things like put a building on a different kind of terrain. The rule in this one is you have to play a building next to one of your already existing buildings if you can. That makes the whole game weird. It's completely unintuitive as to how to be good at this game. And therefore I don't really recommend it unless you are willing to put some time into learning the weird strategies. Once you do, I think it's really fun. Because what you're trying to do is block yourself off, so you're like, oh, I can only place on this flower spot, but now that means I can jump across the map and grab some other good things. So that's why I like it. That's unintuitive, but really fun. And that is Kingdom Builder. Number 44 was 42 last year, and I recently got the new edition. This is Kingsburg. I have not yet played the new edition. This might very well go up once I have. Oh, I forgot the guy that I bought this from also put all the little things in these nice little containers. Look, I even have a deck box from Ultra Pro. The cards are all sleeved. Also, there's cards now. So in Kingsburg, you have these dice, and you are rolling your dice and then placing them on the board to influence different people. I don't think I can get at the board. To influence different people and then get more resources. And then you have a board where you are playing buildings out. One of the really fun things about the second edition is that you have all these different kinds of buildings that no one else has. So like, you might have these 4 buildings and no one else has these. You have to build buildings from left to right, but look, you can get a Griffin Ranch. And who doesn't want a Griffin Ranch? Personally, I prefer probably Griffin Blue Cheese, but you know. But yeah, it's a dice, not a dice drafting game, a dice placement game, which means, yeah, there's some luck in it, but like one of the things is if you roll lower than everyone else, you get to go first. And that balances the rolls nicely. Still a decent amount of luck, but that's not a bad thing with a game of this length, in my opinion. That is Kingsburg. Number 43 was 21 last year. I need to play this game more, especially because I got an expansion for cheap and haven't played it yet with the expansion. This is Suburbia. Suburbia is a game in which, actually, I can just show you the back here, and this does pretty well. On your turn, you buy a new building for your city, you add it in, and that's it. So you might get the apartments, which gives you population, or the warehouse, which decreases your reputation but gives you more income. What you're trying to do in this game is manage these two tracks in front of you. One of them gives you money, one of them gives you points, which is population. But the higher you go up on the points, the more you lose spots on your two tracks, and therefore you're trying to balance it. And when is the right time to switch from money to points? Great game. The designer, Ted Alspach, I have a game of his higher on this list that we won't be talking about today, that you might know what it is just because I said that I like Suburbia. That was number 43, Suburbia. Number 42 was 24 last year, and this is Ingenious. In Ingenious, wow, excuse me, which this is by Reiner Knizia, who is, the most prolific board game designer. In this game, you are playing these little dominoes. That look like this. You're playing these on a hexagonal board that takes all these little hexes. And so here's a portion of the board. And you score points for which colors you put next to other colors. It is completely abstract, and I really love it. One of the great things about this game, and what really makes it tick, this is a classic Reiner Knizia thing. So you have these 6 different colors that you're working on scoring. One of the fun things, which is not classic Reiner Knizia, but when you get to 18 on one of these tracks, you say ingenious, and then you get to go again, and that's fantastic. But at the end of the game, your score is whatever your lowest one on all these tracks are. So if you're working on all the colors except purple, and purple's like all the way down here, your score is really bad because purple's really low. So you need to be working on whatever is lowest, but also if you bring things to the end, you get that bonus of getting to go again. So it's really managing what the strategy is of which colors you want to work on at which times. Plays extremely well with 2, 3, and 4, which can be kind of rare. That is Ingenious. And let's see, just one left here, I think. Yeah, okay. Number 41 was 40 last year, so basically the same. This is Seven Wonders Duel. Seven Wonders Duel is a 2-player only game that is based on the game Seven Wonders and designed by the same guy, Antoine Baza. In this game, you are drafting cards from a pyramid in front of you, or other shapes. And the cards are all these ancient kind of buildings that are very similar to the game Seven Wonders. Seven Wonders is not on the list yet. It will be. I do like Seven Wonders better. A lot of people, well, you also have these wonders you're building, so here's the lighthouse. A lot of people actually like this one better than the original Seven Wonders. I'm not as much of a fan of 2-player games in general, but I do think this is one of the better ones. I'd rather play Seven Wonders though, and play with 6 or 7 people. But yeah, as you can see here, you have like a little pyramid, and you're drafting cards from the pyramid. And so therefore, when you take a card, it might uncover a card that the other person really wants. And that's very cool. It leads to all sorts of interesting decision makings. There's also 3 ways to win the game. You can win via military, via science, or via just the game ending and then whoever has the most points, which I really like. I do think that is a nice little twist on the typical, like, play to the end, whoever has the most victory points wins. But if you can conquer your opponent before then, that leads to some interesting situations. So that was 50 through 41. Yeah, next list, we have 5 new games to the list, which is very cool. And several deck builders? No, only 1 deck builder last time. There's still a bunch of deck builders, I promise. It's just wait till you get to the top 20, and there's a bunch in there. Also in the top 20, I own all the games. That's great. Thanks for joining, and hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought, and have a good one.